Okay, so right now I have my good friend Mr. Iggy Gilbert, as him and I were going to be doing week 2 of the survival pool. As you know, if you're familiar with survival pool or not, week 2 is the week where a lot of pools be busted. You would think it would be week 1, but unfortunately, week 1 had the lowest of the lowest in terms of elimination. I just looked it up on Circa Sports. I think it was 2.76 people were eliminated. That's like the lowest since 2021.
Yeah, that's insane. So a lot of people made a good pick the first week, but yeah, week two is a death trap kind of. A lot of people get swept out in week two.
Exactly. But thank God most of my picks were not eliminated in week 1. Now, the one that really scared me, it was a risk. I took the Cincinnati Bengals over the Cleveland Browns. Like, I knew Cincinnati was going to win, but I did not know how close it was going to be. But if it wasn't for that kicker for Cleveland missed that kick, there have been a lot of people that picked Cincinnati would have got eliminated.
Yeah, I think people really expected more from Cincinnati, even though they have a history of coming out slow. Starting their season with lots of losses. So yeah, they really evaded. Could have been over real quick for a lot of people with Cincinnati. I don't know how many percentages in front of me, but I'm imagining it was at least about 2%, maybe
You know what?
more.
I actually got it. I actually got it on my because I'm looking up on Splash Sports. So the people that picked Cincinnati, it was 92,330.
Okay,
Now for
almost
the
a
people
hundred
that
thousand people.
now for the people that picked the Denver Broncos, which I avoided, almost 300,000 people picked the Denver Broncos according to Splash Sports. That's a hell of a lot of people picked the Broncos, even though that was a risk. And plus it had a lot of people was picking the Broncos.
Yeah, a lot heavy. That's a 300,000, man. That's a lot of number. That's a small city, of people that went that amount on Denver. I thought Denver would be safe, myself. So I put my survivor pools on there, but it was a sweat.
Exactly. And the other thing about me, since I've been doing this before I play Survivor Pool, I always watch the red zone. So if there's like a game that's like I'm like, I'm sweating, or like a close game, I turn to that actual game. Because if it's like a well game, I was like, okay, I can watch it on red zone for the updates. But if it's like very close, I was like, oh, I got to turn that game on.
Yeah,
That's how
that's
I
where the
am.
excitement that anyway. You want to watch a good game at the end, no matter what sport, really.
Exactly. Now there's a couple of games I'm very iffy on. The game I'm very iffy on is the Seattle Seahawks and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, I gotta tell you, man, that Steelers defense was not that good, especially when you're facing against Justin Fields with that offense. Now, if Justin Fields wasn't playing, Pittsburgh would have crushed them. Pittsburgh would have crushed them. But now with the injuries that Pittsburgh got, I just don't feel confident in this Pittsburgh Steelers team. So with me in a situation like this, and depends on what people's survival pool looks like, it's best for Pittsburgh to be saved, depending on what your survival pool look like, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean that's a tough one too. I mean, there's only about three I really like this week. I think several could go both ways. Which was that's what makes week two a trap. If you do get a bye week in your survivor pickles, I recommend taking it this week. I know some tournaments do, some do not. But if you have to play it, yeah, I mean, the Steelers defense is supposed to be really good. They got ran all over. Now they got Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet coming to town. It is a home game for Pittsburgh. Maybe that makes a slight difference. But man, I don't know. I could see either team winning this game, to be honest.
Right. Because I don't want to wake up in the morning and be like, oh man, well, I'm listed as that of how many people pick that team. I don't want to be that. I'd rather be the small percentage than the big percentage.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, I mean that would be a tough one. But I guess if you told me I had to pick this game for my survivor pool this week, I would I probably would tilt the Steelers.
Now, if it was a pick 'em, that'd be a totally different topic. But in a survival pool, and also depends on how big how size your pool is. Now, if it's like a small pool, that's one thing. But if it's like a big pool, like 500 people, I would not take that at all. You'll be a fool to do that.
Yeah, you gotta try to just make it past this week, and that's not. I agree with you. The bigger pools, look elsewhere. Try to get some people eliminated. Let them force their hand in the later weeks.
Now, there's another game. I knew this offhand that this game would be another one to avoid. That is the Buffalo Bills and the New York Jets. Now, as I did say before, the Jets are coming off an emotional loss. The Buffalo Bills are coming off an emotional win. But when I look at this team, I'm saying I'm going to watch the game, but it looks to me that this could be a possible upset. This could be a possible upset for the Buffalo Bills because coming off that Sunday night football game and then you playing against your rivalry opponent, it's like I don't want to be in that situation if anybody picked Buffalo.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous too. In my DFS lineup, I've got both Brees Hall and I've got I'm a blank Justin Fields. So I think they're going to run all over him. Ed Oliver's he's injured. He may not play, from what I'm understanding. So the Buffalo defense is going to be just ran all over up and down the field. So I'm a little nervous. They in theory very well could have lost that game against the Ravens.
Yeah.
So I'm not leaning all my faith into them just yet, especially in a divisional game on the road. Like you said, emotional win, Sunday night game. So just a little bit difference of the rest time and everything. Yeah, it's got trap written all over it to me.
Absolutely. Now there's another one. Originally it was safe, but then we got the update that Brock Purdy is not going to be playing for 2 to 5 weeks. And as soon as I heard that, I'm saying not only that is a trap game, but that could probably be a biggest upset in week 2 in the NFL. I could see an upset.
Yeah, that I'm staying away from that as well. I don't think it's I don't think it's going to work out. I'm trying to remember if the New Orleans Saints used to be in the West back when there was only 3 divisions, almost a little bit of a rivalry, I think. I'm staying away from that game myself. I don't trust either team.
I don't know what the heck happened.
Well, I can see you loud and clear right now.
What the heck just happened? I don't know what the heck the input happened. All right, hold on a second. I don't know what the heck happened.
It's okay.
It just went to. All right, I don't know what the heck happened. It was like, what the heck? But I did hear you. I did hear you that I could see upset. By the way, now here's another one that is also a risk. That is another rivalry opponent. You got the New York Giants and the Dallas Cowboys. Now, it depends on your situation. Now, if you do have like a buyback, it wouldn't be a big of a deal because I do have some money if I do get eliminated. But if you're like in a bigger pool, I would not take that route because you can look somewhere else with that. I mean, we do know the Giants are that bad, but I'm also looking at the value of the Dallas Cowboys because we do know the Cowboys is going to be bad, but I'm looking at it from a defensive point of view. And this wouldn't be surprising if that game would be like a shootout. It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, that's I expect Dallas to win that game, but yeah, I don't. New York's got to bounce back. They got to play better than what they did week 1. So, it's another one. I think Dallas wins it, but that's not where I'm putting my survivor pool out this week.
Because if it was like a smaller pool, yeah, one thing. But if it's if it was like a buyback or like the larger pool, I would like nope, not gonna do that.
Yeah, especially keep it going.
Exactly. Now another team. I did pick the Arizona Cardinals in week 1 of one of my entries, but or how Lee Corso would say, not so fast. That's what I was trying to say. Not so fast. But I miss him. Doing that though. That was a good one. You got the Arizona Cardinals, a home game against the Carolina Panthers. And it's like, if you didn't use them in week one, now it's the time to use them in week two, because as the weeks go by, that not only the schedule is going to be tougher, but the value of that team is going to be decreased for the Cardinals.
Man, you said it so well, Sean. They're one of my three teams this week. I think that you should be going after in your survivor pools. At home, Carolina. They look, the lightning delay kind of messed up the whole game, to be honest, for them. But I don't think they're going to be as good as Arizona. Arizona's playing like three safeties and playing them well, along with Mac Wilson in the middle. So they have a really strong interior, kind of middle of the field defense. So it might put some strain on Bryce Young unless he can just throw it out to McMillan or something out wide. He's going to have some issue getting completions underneath, I think. So we'll see. I think they stopped Chuba Hubbard. I like Arizona this week. I think they're a great survivor pick.
Now, here's another one I'm also avoiding. It's a 4 o'clock game. I'm glad they actually showing this game. They're actually showing the Denver Broncos and the Indianapolis Colts, because they're showing the Detroit Lions home game. So, which it does make sense, because you got to protect the broadcaster rules. So I have no problem with that. But I look at both of these teams. You got Denver Broncos, one against the Titans, and then you had the Indianapolis Colts annihilated the Miami Dolphins. Goodness gracious, I would have never thought it would be like that. But the way Daniel Jones is playing, it's like, where the heck he is playing? Because I didn't see him that when he played at New York, when he was playing with the Giants. And then I did see the Colts are playing a lot better on defense. But like I said, it's the Dolphins. But my issue is this. It's like, if you're going to pick the Colts, because I'm staying away from this game because I see this as a trap game as well. If I'm picking the Colts, I got to look at how is the Colts defense is going to do with that Broncos offense. Or if I'm picking the Broncos, I got to be worried about how you're going to stop this Colts offense. So it's like it's basically like one-sided if you're choosing one of those teams.
Yeah, I think I'm avoiding it. I live in Colorado. I love the Broncos, but I'm staying away from it. And I think Daniel Jones is better because he's not with Brian Daboll. I think Daboll I don't think he's good. It seems like Josh Allen went on to win an MVP without him. Daniel Jones is looking better. Russell Wilson is looking worse. So we'll see. I think Brian Daboll is a little overrated.
Oh, heck yeah. You know who else? I've been saying this for I think I want to say this for 2 years. I have a friend he's a 49ers fan. I love him to death. But I got to say, I'll probably be the first one to say this. I just think that Brock Purdy is an overrated quarterback.
Right, yeah, I do too.
Thank you. I thought I was the only one that said that. People will look at me crazy. I mean, he's a decent quarterback, but he's not a all-time quarterback that I want as like a franchise QB.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I mean, he was good enough to come back and win that game, but I don't know that he's going to be ever like a top 5 quarterback. He's got a great running game that helps him out. So
exactly. Now, another game. That's a lot of games I'm also going to be avoiding. Is the Cincinnati Bengals and the Jacksonville Jaguars. I was like, oh my gosh. This is like, okay. If you pick Cincinnati, you got to be worried about the Bengals defense, and you also got to be worried about the Bengals early weeks because they're below 500. And then you got Jacksonville that got a totally new offense, because I looked at that offense against Carolina. I was like, they're a totally brand new offense than they were years ago. So it's like, oh my God, do I really want to even look at this game? It's like, no, I'd rather look at the Rams over the Titans. You get a much better, more value than that.
Yeah, that's another one of mine too, Sean. LA looked good. They played a tough game, but they looked great defensively. They controlled the ball offensively. Matthew Stafford took a little bit to get going, but then he was throwing dimes once again. And yeah, the Titans, Cam Ward, even though it's in Tennessee, I still just think, Sean McVay is the better coach. Matthew Stafford, the better quarterback right now, or at least this season. And the Rams have a better defense. So they're actually my favorite pick this week is the Rams on the road against the Titans.
thank goodness I did not pick the Rams in week 1 against Houston, because my concern was for week 1 was Matthew Stafford's back injury. That was my biggest concern about that.
Yeah, I didn't. I kind of stayed away from that and betting and everything, because I was like, man, if Matthew Stafford's not good, that changes that whole offense. So
Exactly. But I wasn't surprised that game was close. I wasn't surprised by that.
yeah, they shut down Nico Collins. I wasn't really expecting that, but they did.
Yeah.
So that's something to monitor going forward. They can keep shutting down the team's best wide receiver.
Then there's another game I'm also avoiding. That is the Sunday night football game. It's the Atlanta Falcons and the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings did win on Monday Night Football, and Tampa Bay is wow. I mean, Atlanta is coming off that loss against the Buccaneers. That was a close one as heck. But and I just remembered Kirk Cousins used to play for the Falcons, but unfortunately Michael Penix Jr. is the QB for the Falcons. So, and the thing is, you don't know what type of team Minnesota is. Now they got JJ McCarthy as the QB, my Michigan Wolverines, by the way. So it's like, yeah. So it's like another one is like avoid that as possible. That's another team I know, because I know the NFC North is kind of tough, and Minnesota does have valuable. So that's another team you could possibly save for a future week.
Yeah, that's a match I'm trying to avoid as well. Minnesota had essentially 3 good drives. That was enough to win the game. But Atlanta blew a lead. I mean, Michael Penix, that touchdown he scored, my goodness, that was amazing. With like a minute or whatever left in the fourth quarter, laying it all out on fourth down and getting in the end zone like almost acrobatically, dude. And I think Atlanta's gonna win, but Minnesota showed you can't really count them out. We'll see how your Michigan Wolverine JJ holds up next week against a pretty good defense as well.
Yeah, exactly. Now there's another one I'm also avoiding, is wishy-washy. That's the Houston Texans and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's a Monday Night Football game. I mean, we know Tampa Bay can win the NFC South, but actually, you know what? Both teams can actually win their division, but the only difference is Houston's got to worry about Jacksonville, because they could be. What the heck just happened? I think he just got. Here we go. Okay, I don't know what the heck happened, but the Monday Night Football game, I don't know what happened, but at least we're back on. So you got the Houston Texans and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, on Tampa's part, I know they can win the NFC South, but with Houston, the only team they got to worry about in that division is, as of right now, is the Jacksonville Jaguars, the way they played. So I'm looking at that as like, that could be another possible upset between those two, because I can possibly see Houston beating Tampa Bay at Tampa, but it's very rare to like picture it. But I can just see that right now in a weak AFC South division.
Yeah, I think I predicted both of these. Well, no, I think Atlanta is going to win the NFC South, even though they just lost. But I think Houston still has a good chance to win the division. It's a toss up though. I'm staying away from it. It feels like a must win game for Houston, even though it's not. And then Monday night, you kind of never know what's going to happen on Monday night, really, to be honest.
Especially early, and then you also got the AFC West rivalry game. That is the Chargers and the Raiders. That's probably, well, that is like the several biggest AFC West rivalry, because most people probably know about the Denver Broncos and the Raiders rivalry.
Right. Yeah. That whole division's kind of like one big rivalry. But the cool thing is we get Pete Carroll and John Harbaugh, right? Yeah. No, Jim Harbaugh.
Jim Harbaugh. Yeah.
Yeah, we get Jim Harbaugh and Pete Carroll, which they battled in the NFC West for a while. So it's kind of cool to see that, rekindled. And it's going to be a special game. I'm staying away from it from a survivor. It's a divisional game, a new coach. I'm still trying to kind of figure out who the Raiders are. So I'm staying away
exactly. Even though they got Ashton Gentry, the running back for the Raiders, which I was shocked the way they picked him, because he was a good running back in Boise State, because I did watch him in Boise.
Yeah, I think Genty's going to be special. You know, he scored a touchdown. Interesting thing there will be, is Bowers healthy or not? I went and picked up Myers in a couple of leagues because I mean Bowers looked amazing. He's kind of a one-of-one athlete right now. So if he's hurt, that kind of changes the dynamic of their team, I think.
Exactly. And then of course you'll be a fool if you pick the Chiefs and the Eagles in that big Fox national game. You'll be a fool to do that, and you will also be a fool for picking the Lions and the Bears. Because even though the Lions did lose that game, they always have like a slow season to start. But it's different now. They lost their offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator. So I would save the Detroit Lions and look, because there's a lot of future that you can use the Lions.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's like playing chess without your bishops and your rooks or something. It's going to take them a little bit to get back there, but it's a divisional game. Chicago didn't look that great to me, to be honest. So yeah, I'm staying away from that one. But I am tilting the Lions.
Exactly. Now, where can my listeners find you on social media and your articles?
Yeah, so I have some articles over at Fantasy Alarm. I do the IDP report over there, and actually do a show on YouTube from I got to make sure I say this correctly, 6 p.m. Eastern to 7 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to check that out, and then you can check some of my written articles over at the Sports Affiliation, at sportsaffiliation.com. We got a lot of shows going on over there.
Exactly. That's why I made sure I did my show earlier, because for Thursday night football.
Yeah, Thursday night football, big night. I've been, used to do watch alongs, and still been a big night for me because I just like starting off the week right, and it's just cool. I got Thursday, kind of get something to look forward to in the middle of the week, and I'm a Packers fan, so I'm really interested.
I didn't know you was a Packers fan.
Yeah, I'm a Packers fan, actually living in Colorado, so I know you're a Michigan Lions guy, but yeah, it's, and I actually do. I forgot to say I needed to promote that. I do an NFC North show. We just started it this year. It's on YouTube on the Sports Affiliation. Me, Greg, who's a Lions fan, Andy Behrens, who's a Chicago's fan, and JC, he's a Minnesota Vikings fan. So all four of us get to talk about our team. It's about 10 to 15 minutes every week. So it's pretty fun because I talk trash to them, and I start off the video every
week. and you know what? I just thought about this a seconds ago. We did say this last year, is that do not pick Thursday night football games, because Thursday night football games are one of the most unluckiest picks you could ever do on Thursday night, except for Thanksgiving or like the kickoff, depending on the value of that team.
Kickoff, Thursday nights are just, you never know, man. I feel like the only steady is kickers have a good game, and that does not help us at all in survivor pools, So I always stay away, like you say, Sean. Unless you just get to the end of the season and it's like, well, it's this or nothing. But then I still wouldn't feel confident taking Thursday night football games.
Exactly. Thank you so very much, and I look forward to have you on a future show.
Hey, Sean, likewise, and I hope you have a great day. And thank you for having me on.
Oh, as always. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you like what you just saw, make sure you follow our social media pages, and don't forget to visit our website at 5a6sports.com for the latest news in the sports world.